What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and finally I got War Machine to tier 3, so I got to see just how strong this character is, and he is pretty monstrous, I have to say. Not the strongest character in the game, but definitely well worth building, especially considering he's a free-to-play character, and he does play fairly well with a proc. I think it's really going to depend on the kind of device you have, the kind of speed that you have in your fingers when it comes to playing this guy, and I'll explain that in a second, but I mean, this is a character worth building, not only for the leadership, so that way you have the increase of 30% increase of physical attack to your physical attacking characters, but also because of his 4-star passive that gives the 40% increase of all attack to technokinetic allies, which means this is going to work on Cable, Iron Man, Hulkbuster. It's going to work on a lot of characters on top of giving that 30% increase of HP. Not to mention this is a self-buffing passive for War Machine, which is amazing. And they really did do a lot for this character. I mean, they gave the damage accumulation based on how much damage you take. I will say that this is a pretty annoying little skill because you really do want to take damage. And if you let this 3 play out, it's not like Shirag. Whenever you hit Shirag's 3rd skill and you're trying to take damage, it has a long delay, whereas this thing doesn't. You don't want to delay it any longer than about a second. If you do, it will trigger the proc early, and you're going to lose an insane amount of damage. So you have to be able to time when you're taking damage. You have to be able to know whenever your opponents are going to be doing attacks. That way you can time your 3rd skill, hit it, take a little damage, and then go into your 5-4 combination afterwards, or sometimes even your 5. It really just depends, or your 5 tier 3, whatever. So he can be a little tricky to play sometimes because of that. And then the 4th skill gives him a nice little heal. You can move it around. It's a really beautiful skill. Something about the character. The animations are gorgeous. And the 5th skill gives him a 30% increase of all attacks. So this is something you definitely want to do before you hit the tier 3. You always want to hit the 3rd skill, and you always want to hit the 5th skill before the tier 3. That's very, very important. That way you can accumulate the max amount of damage. If you don't hit that 3rd skill before you do the tier 3, your accumulation isn't going to build up. So that's really going to hurt your damage, and you definitely want that 30% increase of physical attack when you're doing it. And you want to put the proc on the tier 3, whether it's on the 5-4 or on the tier 3. That's where you want the procs for this guy. Now, as far as how you play War Machine, it really is going to depend on the individual. And in my opinion, it really is going to depend on you and the device you play on. If you play on a high-end device, then you could easily go, 3, slight delay, try to take a little damage. Keep in mind that you want your opponents attacking you when you hit the 3rd skill. So be 3, take a little damage, then 5-4, right? If you let that 3 play out a little bit, it will set off that proc. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So if we hit the 3, see that? If that thing hits, look at all the hits that thing's doing. It will set off the proc, and I really, really wish they would have done it more like Shirag, where it had a longer delay, like a 2 or 3 second delay. It'd been so much easier to play this character optimally. Now, even if you don't play the character optimally, he's still pretty much a god. He still does insane damage, but remember, always try to do that delay. Now, after your 1st rotation, you can actually do your tier 3. Now, you can do one of 2 things depending on you, depending on the device you play on. If you have a high-end device, you can just go 3, 5, 4, tier 3, right? And you have to cancel that 4 into that tier 3 extremely fast. If you don't, the 4 will jump away, right? He'll start doing this crap. He'll jump away. And when he does, you can't go into your tier 3 immediately. So you have to go 4 cancel 5, 4 cancel tier 3, super, super fast. And depending on the device you play on, it's really going to depend on whether or not you can do that efficiently. Now, if you play on a lower end device, what I would recommend is 3, delay, 5-4, right? You want to try to take some damage. And then in the next rotation, you just want to do 3, delay, right? 3, delay, and then 5. And then maybe you could do the 4, just 3, 5. Actually, I would just do the 3, 5. Because your 4's got a 10-second cooldown, and you're going to be running around for a lot longer if you wait. And really, if you just do the 3, take damage, go into 5, you're going to do a lot of damage. So 3, delay, 5-4 in your 1st rotation, 3, 5 in the 2nd rotation. You can wait for the 4 to get off cooldown, do 3, 5-4 again if you want. But then in the 3rd rotation, you can just go 3, 5, and then tier 3. And you'll always land the proc, because going from the 5 to the tier 3 is very, very simple, even on a low-end device. Seriously, when you're going from that 4 to that tier 3, that can be very tricky. You got to be super fast. Super, super fast. It is tricky, my friends. But if you can do 2 rotations, right, you're going to do your tier 3 more often. So really on a high-end device, you're definitely going to do a lot better. One, you're not going to be skipping frames, but you're just going to be doing more damage because you actually do your rotations for your tier 3 even more often, right? That's something to keep in mind. It really does suck that that 4 is on a long cooldown. That is annoying as hell, my friends. And it really sucks that that 3 can set off the proc so early. I mean, we're talking a slight delay, a second at the most. I don't even, just barely a second, and then go into your 5-4. He has a fully awakened Power of Angry Hulk set, and he does have a CTP of energy with a 200% damage proc. His uniform, unfortunately, is only at heroic. I am going to max this thing out, but as far as my uniform options, I mean, I got cooldown. I could easily change that, but really, I don't need anything. I mean, dodge would actually give me a little extra survivability. And then this here, we could change that actually to physical attack. Funny enough, the run that you're going to see, I actually had the previous setup on him. I didn't even change this. Well, come on now. Can we get to physical attack? Let's, oh, thank you. So that's 500 extra physical attack. And then this here, my ignore defense is all maxed out. As far as my details, it's pretty much maxed out. I mean, 70% crit rate, max crit attack speed. I actually ended up changing my ISO 8 set and gave Power of Angry Hulk because I wanted that extra attack speed because I was sitting at 121%. And it did make a little bit of a difference for him, to be perfectly honest. Having that extra attack speed did make a difference. So having max attack speed is really, really nice. And, as far as his uniform effect, the critical damage increase by 50% is awesome because it makes him a lot easier to level up. And then the increased guaranteed crit rate is really nice. It means you have a higher chance of landing critical hits, which means you're going to be doing a lot more damage. Now, the run that I'm going to show you guys, I actually pre-recorded. I tried getting a good run in for you against Knull, against stage 19. And the beautiful thing about Rhodes is after 9, you need a male, which he qualifies for. Then you need a human, which he qualifies for. Then you need a male superhero, which he qualifies for, right? So he is insane for a long period of time early in the game. Like you can go all the way up to 24. I'm not really sure what's after 24 with him as a support or your main damage dealer, which is nice. And if you do play with the proc, you can absolutely play with the proc with the guy. He is pretty proc friendly, but again, it depends on the device you're playing on as far as the actual rotation that you would want to use. Oh yeah, let's back that up. So stage 19 is where I'm going to use him because, once we go into the superhero stage, like when we go into the superhero here, we don't have any supports at all. Because he's a physical attacking character, I can't use, Star-Lord, right? Like if I use Star-Lord, it's to energy attack, which sucks. That's not going to work for old boy. I can't use any of these supports. I mean, I could put Cyclops in there, right, to get 35% increase of all attack, and then I got the CTP of Insight, but I just decided to go for stage 19. So we can use Taskmaster for the damage to supervillains. We have no CTPs of Insight or anything on him. And another thing about Rose that I didn't even mention is he already has 30% ignore dodge, right? Which is awesome. And then with the CTP, he can gain another 40% ignore dodge, which is about 70%. So if you're running him and he's got the self-buffing leadership along with the 40% all attack passive, you only need one ignore dodge striker and you'll have 90% ignore dodge at all times. And then you just run some damage to supervillain strikers. So we'll go ahead and pull up that run so you guys can see what we did here. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're just going to try to take a little damage from the piercing attack there, 3, 5, 4. And, see, in there you're just timing that third skill. You're really just trying to take a little damage. We're kind of run around. We really don't want to get caught in that. But the good thing about Rhodes is he does have that extra 30% HP from his passive, which is really nice. And then you saw me hit the 354 tier 3. Now, I can do that on my device. I play it on Samsung Note 10. It has a pretty good responsive time, so it works. But people that have lower-end devices or you have a lag fest on your phone, it's not going to be the optimal way to play them. You're really going to want to do two rotations first of 354. 3-5 and then 3-5 tier 3 probably. I think that would be better if you're playing on a lower end device. And then we go 3-5-4 tier 3 again because I'm playing on a higher end device. My phone is 2 years old, by the way. Now there, what I did is I just hit 3-5-4, and if you go 3-5, right, and you take a little damage and then you go into the 4, you'll still do an insane amount of damage. Okay, so we're just going to wait around. I don't want to use my tier 3, but I mean, stage 19 with 13% pierce, 87% physical attack. He did the first phase in 1:20, and I've actually done that in about 1 minute with this guy. It really depends on the run. There's a lot of RNG with War Machine as far as, the whole damage accumulation based on how much damage you take. It's really, really tricky. But something that's nice is, whenever Knull's in this phase, you really want to hit that 3 right before he strikes his Necro Sword at you, and then go into your 5-4. That way you take that damage, man. That's very, very important. It's kind of annoying. I really wish they would have made his third skill more like Sharog's. Just a little bit longer delay would have been so helpful. So there, right there, you saw that it was kind of difficult to go into my tier 3. Immediately, I was kind of hitting it a few times, and that's the thing. You got to be super fast when you're going from that 4 into that tier 3. We don't try not to get caught here. And there I hit the third, try to take a little damage. There we go in 3-5-4, and we definitely got some accumulation built up right there. I mean, he does insane damage. The guy's got crazy, crazy burst damage. And you see how, like right there, how the 4 he kind of slung back, and I was hitting my tier 3, and it wasn't detonating quite away. It wasn't hitting really fast. So I mean, you got to be fast between that 4 and that tier 3. That's the trickiest thing about War Machine. Well, that and trying to take damage. Now I'm just trying to get my skills off cooldown. Wasn't really expecting to do a lot of damage. Because I found out, like, when you're in this highest stage, at least on my account, toward the end, you want to make sure that in the first phase of Knull, that you have your tier 3 race so you can do a lot of damage. That way you can finish this fight with Rhodes by himself. And booyah. Now there we actually, I believe we missed a proc on the tier 3 there. Like I said, man, you got to be fast between that 3-5-4, tier 3. That 4 tier 3 combo, it's a real pain in the butt. But if you got fast fingers, you got a good high-end device, it's not going to be too difficult. I've only missed the proc once so far doing that. Now there I tried taking a little damage, but we didn't quite get it. And there I take a little damage from the 3. And then we go into 3-5-4. We definitely took damage there. And see, now I got the tier 3. And this is where you want that tier 3 if you're going to be using Rhodes for your clears. So now we all got to do is hit that 3, 5, and then the tier 3. Your accumulation, 3-5-4. There we go. And the cool thing is, man, he's got that extra HP. He's got a good amount of survivability. He's got the decreased damage received, right? So I didn't really have to worry about him dying there, which is pretty awesome. Then we go into 3-5-4 really quick here. You're not really going to take any damage unless some tornadoes or toxic meteorites are on the ground really right here. And then we just want our tier 3, 3-5-4, tier 3. And booyah. I mean, he did stage 19 with about a minute to spare. Which is nutso, guys. I mean, that is crazy. That's pretty damn insane, right? So I have to say, man, I mean, Rhodes got some serious power. He did that with one support. Normally when I test characters, I'll have one support, stage 9. I just did stage 19 in 4 minutes with one support, no CTPs of insight. Yeah. He is an insane monster. Very, very strong. Very, very impressed with him. And I'm definitely going to level that uniform up to Mythic. That's another thing. I don't even have him at max build. And, if you do have a Mighty CTP on this guy, if you're running a Mighty CTP, it's going to be really amazing whenever you do, like, if you're playing on a good high-end device. Well, even if you play on a low-end device, you go 3-5 tier 3 or 3-5-4 tier 3 on a high-end device, you're going to get that extra pierce from the beatdown on that tier 3. But whenever you're taking damage, the beatdown proc only lasts for 5 seconds, so it's not going to be so. It's kind of like Sharog, right? The Mighty does benefit on Sharog because whenever you hit her tier 3, she can accumulate her damage super fast, and you'll still get that extra pierce while you're doing your tier 3. And War Machine is going to work the same way. So the Mighty would actually be a better obelisk for him with the beatdown proc. But, with the all attack on it, it'll actually be really good too, because then you can still take that damage, time your procs a little bit better. So I don't know. It's really a matter of opinion on what you think better. But I got to say, man, Rhodes he's impressive. He is an absolute monster. Love him to death. Really good survivability because of the heal, the decreased damage received, the iframes, the invincibility, the immunity. He's got a lot of tools in his kit, but he's not perfect. I think people that are going to play on lower end devices, they're still going to love him, but I don't think they're going to be able to play him as optimally as what people can play on high end. And I think that would go for really most characters because, with low end devices, you actually lose frame rates. So that always does make a difference, right? When you play on a higher end device, you're going to have, higher frame rates. You're going to be able, the game's going to be able to process the information a whole lot faster. And that does make a difference as far as how much damage you actually do. But in Rhodes' case, going from that 5 to that, or going from that 4 to that tier 3, it's going to be tricky for, I think, a lot of players out there. But let me know how you're all feeling about Rhodes. I think he's freaking absolutely insane. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.